Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Gungans and Droids across the beloved empire, to a video, the most important video you're watching right now, because the tinfoil hat is speaking a prophecy of the Jabba the Hutt complete requirements, and the person who's also has heard this prophecy is the one and only AP Gaines. Are you ready to enlighten the minds, to open up the third eye of all the people here today, my friend?
Yes, you get your prophecy hat. Mine come directly.
Ooh,
we'll see who wins.
Oh my gosh, is that your is your wallet also a phone?
Yes, it's a direct line to Capital Games. How do you think I became CGAP, bro? They called me.
All right, let's just get right into it. We have a lot that we're going to be talking about today. Jabba the Hutt. This is always kind of fun. Every single time we get a Galactic Legend, we always love to kind of just speculate on what's to come. And usually, I would say 10 out of 10 times, everyone's predictions are always wrong. But it's still kind of fun, nonetheless, to kind of guess on where we're heading right here. So far, we have the first 5, and we have 15 requirements in total. As you can see in the game, it's right now just showing blank, 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 blank. And we're going to have 2 more sets to go. So far, Chrysanthemum, Han Solo, Greedo, Gamorrean Guard, and the Outrider are starting our journey off. And we're going to just get to the second segment. And I think this is the theme that we're having. I feel like these are very obvious. And when it's too obvious, it's probably not going to happen, right?
Well, they're running out of characters, so some of them are going to have to be obvious. But when they're obvious, that just means Relic 9.
Relic, yeah, when in doubt, Relic 9. So let's go ahead and get our first batch or second batch requirements, I suppose. And pretty much what we're doing is we're filling up the Hutt Cartel. We're kind of thinking, since it's such a limited faction, we're thinking it's gonna, the Hutt Cartel that is, we're thinking it's going maybe somewhere down the First Order resistance path, where every single resistance in First Order pretty much was required to get him unlocked. Boba Fett, I think, is a no-brainer. He ultimately fulfills his fills out his throne after Bib Fortuna. Mob Enforcer, talk about Mob Enforcer. It's got to happen, right?
Well, I think Mob Enforcer is going to be like Embo from Lord Vader or Tusken before they gave us the Omicron. It's like, it's just a character that no one has. It's free. You got to farm the shards. You got to farm the gear. You got to farm the relics. It's free cash. It comes directly from CG. They're telling me right now there's going to be 2 Mob Enforcers required.
2? Actually. Oh gosh. Well, here, just to show you here, I'll bring on over to my roster. I have almost every character at gear 13. I only geared up if they're necessary, testing, or memes. Let's just say, the way you put it, and it's the best way to put it, you got to flip your roster upside down to see what the GL requirements are going to be. And Mob Enforcer is my lowest unit inside my roster. So I do have a high suspicion that we're going to end up requiring Mob Enforcers sometime down the road. The question is how far, and if they're going to get an Omicron. The good news is CG's been going back and putting Omicrons on bad requirements, and a lot of them are pretty good for the most part. So Mob Enforcer, I feel like it's going to happen. It's just there's not that many Hutt Cartel members. Cad Bane is another obvious one, I think. Again, it's in the Hutt Cartel tag that was just brought in, and in the Clone Wars, Cad did a lot of work for Jabba. So I mean, there's the lore connection, and the only reason why people have geared him up was for the Xanadu Blood ship. I mean, do you think there's a chance Cad Bane's not going to be added? I mean, Captain Rex wasn't required for Lord Vader, which was kind of odd.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they do, it's going to have to be like an R8 kind of, because most players who are going to go for Jabba already have a maxed out executor fleet anyway. So it's kind of like Boba.
Yeah,
like,
Boba.
It makes sense, but for it to actually be practical, it's got to be like some, like maybe he's required at R10. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Gosh.
Like they're going to have to make it worth the whaling.
I mean, we're seeing Profundity have Relic 9 requirements. There's going to be a Relic 9 for Jabba. And I think Boba Fett. Yeah, I think Boba Fett is going to be the one. They never really overlap requirements without upping their relic levels. And then we have Embo on here, who was needed for Lord Vader at a reasonable Relic 5, right? It was a Relic 5, but kind of like
reasonable.
I said, yeah, reasonable. The Relic 5 is the new Gear 11 of Galaxy Heroes. Come on, man. Get with the times here. But Embo, needed for Lord Vader, could be needed for Jabba, because again, there's not a lot of Hutt Cartel members, but kind of like what we're saying, it could just up the relics, man. I mean, they had 4 Relic 8s for Lord Vader, and they always have a history of upping it as we go forward. More Relic 7s, then it was more Relic 8s, and there's got to be some Relic 8s and Relic 9s associated. Embo, or we have a cult over here that loves him. Greatest character of all time. Hey, he got an Omicron too, so he makes him nicer in territory. And then we're going to start getting into these probably require a bit more speculation here. Lando, we're going to start us off here. I think, again, we're going based off the time we saw Jabba reasonable connections, and we know CG sometimes like to pick things that are out of the blue. Like we said, there was no Captain Rex, there was no R2D2 required for Lord Vader, which was kind of odd, you know, because those are important characters to Lord Vader's upbringing here. But Lando was seen at the barge at Jabba's palace inside of Return of the Jedi. Too obvious? I mean, he was Relic 3, right? Or Relic 5 for the
Relic 5.
Yeah, for the Jedi Master Luke requirements.
I mean, it's kind of like Han, right? They took Han from 6 for JML to 8 for Jabba. If they take Lando from 5 to 7, I can see that. I think this entire row is like, they're obvious characters that will either be high relics or that could be completely replaced by some random nonsense that we couldn't possibly predict.
Yeah, that's the hard part. Just when we were looking at the roster, it's not like the Force users like the Jedi, Sith. You know, there are so many Jedi, Sith, First Order, Resistance. There's not a lot of Hutt cartel members, so they're gonna have to stretch and pick out of other people. It's just seeing Han Solo in here. Han Solo's needed a high Relic 8. I'm thinking I mean, Han Solo's important. It sucks that there's got to be a Carbonite Han scene in this Jabba event, or this is just a waste of our time. Lando, I feel like, is gonna be there. And since we're on the topic of Lando, we're just gonna go show you the rest of the requirements down here. Leia. I mean, anytime you bring up Jabba, usually the first that comes to the average male's mind is Slave Leia. As we can see, we have a very cultured individual up here. You probably should strap it to your head for better reception on the speculation. Yeah, there we go. Now we're cooking, buddy. I don't think we're gonna get a Slave Leia. I think we might see like a costume. Like, you know, sometimes we get like temporary costumes. Like we had the Bespin Leia costume inside of the was it the Jedi Knight Luke event? Or is it Master Luke? Those events like overlap too much for me, so I forget which is from which. But they might do like a Leia skin for the Jabba event. But I don't think they're going to release a standalone Slave Leia marquee character. But if there's a Han and we're thinking Lando, I mean, what was the... There's got to be a Leia there. Leia's the one that ultimately kills Jabba. I mean, what do you think there's a chance? Again, is it too obvious? That's the problem.
Well, she's only required at 3.
3,
so, I mean,
right? Yeah, that's low.
A ton of leeway to bump up the relics, and she's not super useful for really anything. Same with Lando. Not like there's not like a defined place in any of the metas where he necessarily fits perfectly.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
there's been no reason to overgear Leia, no reason to overgear Lando. So again, flip your roster, and then if they are going to have overlap, they're going to increase the relics to some degree. So, you know, Leia was Relic 3, they can make her Relic 7, Relic 8, something pretty absurd. And there's some people that have been satisfied with their Omicron. Maybe give you a reason.
She had an Omicron.
Yeah, she's got an Omicron in her.
There's an Akbar Omicron now. I mean, maybe they're trying to put that team together, and they're going to bump up Kyber 1 teams.
I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand, the profundity a little bit. You know, there's a lot of rebel love going on out there. Now, this was your pick. You put the Jawa in here. Why are you thinking Jawas?
I mean, we did the flip roster test, and it's going to be either the weakest Jawa or Ugnaught, or just something that's so ridiculously pointless, kind of like Gamorrean Guard. Like, is Gamorrean Guard even going to be used on the Jabba team? I don't know, unless they give him an Omicron or something like that. His kit's not very good. He taunts, but Chrysanthemum taunts better and revives himself. Yeah. So I think they're gonna stockpile a couple of those Rex where they're like, I really like Cody or Clone Sergeant or Bo-Katan for the JMK requirements. Like, I'm never gonna really use this guy. Like, maybe I'll use him a couple times, but I'm never really gonna use him. But I gotta pay for him. I mean, anyway.
Jawas are a meme to Dream Team, man. They could beat the Mon Mothas and Genos, and that's pretty much the extent of their fun in Galaxy. I mean, there's a lot of mad lads like me that have them up and running, but it's kind of one of those things. You also said maybe Ugnaught could fit in that slot. You know, it's just some sort of character that's, I mean, I think Ugnaught probably is less utilized than Jawa, if anything, at that point. So that's kind of more of a flex spot with the Jawa. I mean, we have some good confidence in the Lando Leia thing. The Jawa, maybe not 100%, but it's just something kind of fill in there. Like, it's got to be something a little off, someone that's been at Jabba's Palace, something on Tatooine here. But I think the more interesting fact is that our last few slots here, we have characters that aren't here. We put Bib Fortuna. You wanted the twins on here. And, you know, I gave you a lot of leeway. You also picked out Hondo for this list
confident. Here. I think everyone in the community is pretty confident.
I want Hondo to come. Hondo is going to come before Galaxy of Heroes goes away. I don't know if now's the time for Hondo. There is a very small connection to the Hutt cartel, but not the Jabba the Hutt. For those that don't know, just a brief search on the Star Wars Wikipedia, Hondo was briefly in servitude, and he also was kind of like an advisor to a Hutt cartel member, but not a huge connection to Jabba. And I think Jabba's kit and his team is going to be primarily Hutt cartel based. Now, they could just release Hondo, and maybe they fill out his team eventually. I just don't think it's now. I think Hondo's going to have just his own unique identified team that's going to come out at one point. That being said, I do want Hondo to come. I know a lot of people would like to see Hondo to come. I just don't know if it's now, but AP Game gave his 69% certification that Hondo's going to be required for Jabba. I mean, we are definitely thinking there's going to be at least 2 more APs, more into 3 to 4 marquee characters more for Jabba the Hutt. There's always at least 2, but like a Bad Batch was 4 marquees. Oh wait, we got a phone call coming. What did he say? What did we say?
7 marquees.
But we only have 3 slots here left.
7 marquees. Pencil it in right now.
Oh, all right. So Hondo, we'll see. I haven't seen a lot of talk, but I would love to see Hondo. I just, I feel like him being added as a Jabba requirement would kind of undermine the maybe the excitement of him coming to the game. Like I was imagining more of like a standalone team. Who knows? I would love to see it though. Bib Fortuna. Now I will admit, I think Bib Fortuna might be the upcoming Conquest character. At the production of this video, there's a word on the street that we're going to be getting the next Conquest announcement. We don't know if it's for Jabba, Jabba's lifter Conquest unit, or if it's going to be maybe like a Red 5 ship for the Profundity. That's going to be in the near future, but I would find it highly unlikely that Bib Fortuna would not be added for Jabba. I mean, Bib Fortuna is kind of like the General Hux of Supreme Leader Kylo Ren. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think whether he's a marquee character or they announce him as a Conquest character tonight or the ship, I think he's gonna be in the game at some capacity.
I mean, plus he was one that's it was the succession of Jabba's throne before Boba took it over. The only thing is, I don't know if Bib is really a Conquest level of hype character. Like almost all the Conquest units, with the exception of Interceptor, Second Sister Interceptor was not really a very iconic thing. That should have been a marquee. I think, but almost everything, you know, Malgus, Maul, Tano, Razor Crest, Boba Fett, those are all pretty iconic, like almost main characters. Bib Fortuna is very much so a sidekick. Didn't really have a major role except letting just Boba kill him off to take over his throne. So I find it unlikely he'll be a Conquest character. So marquee is possible. Again, I look at a General Hux. General Hux was kind of in that role of henchman sidekick type of dude. So I would be very surprised if in the next month or so before Jabba comes out, they make no Bib Fortuna announcement, whether it's Conquest or whether it's going to be a marquee. That was my pick, but I mean, you kind of, you know, there wasn't really much originality to it. Bib Fortuna is a very obvious one. And then lastly, should have talked about Hondo lastly, but we got the twins on here, which kind of too.
They
but,
could be the Conquest unit.
But again, we didn't
I
really
mean, they don't
see
have
much
to be
of them.
iconic. You know what I mean?
But that's how I envision Conquest. You know, how many Conquest characters do we have? We have 6, right? We had 3, and then Boba Fett this year, TIE Interceptor, Malgus this year. I feel like I'm missing someone. So there were 6, and 5 out of 6 of them were iconic. Twins.
All right, hear me out.
Okay, go for it. Go for it, please.
So we'll tie in the Lord Vader conundrum. Full screen. I'm so powerful. Should I put on my science goggles? The
floor is yours, my friend. There you go.
All right, so JMK made tons of money. Lord Vader didn't, because no one wanted Lord Vader. He wasn't fun. He wasn't super apparently good right off the bat. They want people to buy Jabba, which means they want the team to be good, which means that they want some unit to make Jabba good. It doesn't have to be cool, like Maul and Lord Vader don't really, but like he has to be really good. So he's gonna have a Conquest unit. Now, he doesn't really have, like, unless it's Salacious B. Crumb and CG Crumb comes to the actual game. Like, I don't think that his Conquest unit is going to be like super iconic and awesome and people are gonna be so excited. It just has to be really good for the team. So it could be the twins, it could be Hondo, it could be Bib, it could be anything, but it might not be cool.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be the twins, but this is supposed to be a Hutt cartel team. So you know, I definitely, you know, heck, maybe Zero the Hutt. Something stupid like that. Yeah, everyone.
5 Hutt team.
For some reason, every time I saw Zero the Hutt, I imagine if Elton John was a Star Wars character, it'd be Zero the Hutt. That's a very, like, you know, Elton John always wore the very colorful clothing, just a very outgoing person. I don't know why. I always imagine Zero the Hutt to being the Elton John of Galaxy of Heroes almost. Definitely, there is another one. We thought maybe it could be Jabba the Hutt's droid. Can maybe be in here potentially because Jabba the Hutt's droid. Yeah, what was his name? EV6 or something like that. He also was in Book of Boba Fett as well, kind of being advisor, sort of to Boba Fett when he was on the throne, when he was the daimyo of Tatooine. So,
C3PO could be a requirement.
C3PO, I mean, C3PO, man, they're needed for. I mean, yeah, but they're needed for a lot of things. That's the thing. The
but not R7.
That is true.
R8.
It's kind of like what was Watt's relic from? Was it Relic 7 or Relic 8? This is like so
7.
dumb. You didn't need it. So many characters where you don't need at relics, they make you put them at relics anyways. Nonetheless, here. So, will this be correct? I guess time will tell. I'm guessing maybe July, or not July. I'm guessing maybe September. October is when Jabba's going to come. AP thinks if we're going to get this many marquees, he's thinking maybe end of the year, Jabba the Hutt is going to be unlocked. So we'll have to wait and see. Lord Vader was announced in July and they got released inside of September. But to be fair, all the marquees are pretty much already released beforehand, and we're definitely waiting on more. And we were told there's going to be some more marquees coming with Chrysanthemum being the first of the bunch. So when you look at this list, AP, how much confidence can you bestow upon our audience that this is what they should do? And just get everyone to Relic 9 right now to play it safe.
I think what they're actually going to do is going to be 10 more marquees. They're all going to be Jawas, and they're all going to have no kit.
That'd be funny.
They're not going to do anything.
They just released 10 marquees, and not even any of these other guys can be. They'll use everyone. They won't use anyone except Mob Enforcer. Character. Yeah, they'll use Mob Enforcer, and the rest are marquees at that point. So
yeah, it's gonna be the first $10,000 character.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, guns and droids, thank you so much for stopping by. Let us know your predictions down below. These are always interesting, but you know, CG, they always like to catch us off guard with things that are irrelevant to a character. Like, why was there Embo and no Captain Rex or R2? I guess we'll never find out. Any wise words of wisdom you want to bestow upon the audience before we get out of here?
Subscribe. It's Arnold and AP August, the month where we hug and kiss each other bed. So subscribe to
go to his channel tomorrow. He's got meme review. See you later, alligators. And as always, remember, it's great to be in the Empire today. 10 a.m. at what time? 10. There's a lot of 10 a.m.s out there.
Pacific Standard Time.
There we go. Thank you for clarifying that. It's great to be in the Empire today.
Yeet. Figaro.
Bye.